I thought my neighbor was kidnapped for knowing too much, but now I'm not even sure I wasn't brainwashed too. You ever get that feeling that something's just off? Like reality shifted ever so slightly and everyone else missed it, but you? That's how I felt the night my neighbor, Curtis, disappeared. Curtis was a quiet guy, mid-40s, ex-military, worked from home, doing some kind of freelance tech stuff. But what made Curtis interesting wasn't what he did, it was what he believed. The dude was deep into politics. And I don't mean just watching cable news. I mean he had this entire garage filled with corkboards, red strings, maps, documents, news clippings. He was convinced that Trump's original 2016 campaign had hidden connections with a private intelligence group that had been operating in the US for decades. Off the books, black budget, deep state type of stuff. He told me once, dead serious, they're watching people like me because I see through the show. I know what they did in 2015 in Ohio. I thought it was just Curtis being Curtis. Too many Reddit threads, too much late-night YouTube. But then, one night, he vanished. His lights were on for 3 days straight. His car stayed in the driveway. Mail piled up. I rang the doorbell, called out, even peeked through the window. Nothing. No cops showed up. No family. No explanation. It was like he never existed. I filed a missing persons report, but they brushed me off, said maybe he took a trip. You're right. Without telling anyone, with all his stuff left behind. Then, just when I was starting to accept he was gone, he came back. About 6 months later, I saw him on his porch, watering the plants. Same face, same clothes, same house, but it wasn't the same man. At first, I thought I was imagining things. Maybe I wanted him to come back so badly that my mind conjured it up. But no, it was Curtis. Same walk, same posture, even that same ridiculous Area 51 Marathon 2019 hoodie he always wore. But something wasn't right. When I walked over to say hi, he didn't recognize me at all. Hi, I'm Curtis, he said with this polite, rehearsed smile. Just moved in last week. I laughed, thinking he was joking, but his eyes didn't even flicker. They were blank. Not confused, not startled, just empty. I tried reminding him of things. The neighborhood barbecue last fall, the time his cat got stuck in my fence. Nothing. He just nodded and said, I think you've mistaken me for someone else. But it was him. There wasn't a doubt in my mind. The next few weeks got weirder. His house, which used to be a chaotic mess of newspapers, routers, and conspiracy books. Now it looked like a damn IKEA showroom. Spotless. Sterile. Not a single paper out of place. He no longer worked from home. Every morning at exactly 6:45, a sleek black SUV would pull up. He'd get in, dressed in a crisp suit, and they'd drive off. No license plate. Tinted windows. Every day like clockwork. I started watching him, taking notes. I know how crazy that sounds, but I had to know what happened to him. It was like he'd been wiped clean, reprogrammed. One night, I saw him sitting in his backyard alone. Just sitting, not reading, not drinking, just staring straight ahead at nothing. So I called out his name, Curtis. He slowly turned his head. His face stayed blank, but his mouth moved. And what he said chilled me to the bone. You weren't supposed to notice. Then he turned back around. Didn't say another word. I didn't sleep that night. After Curtis whispered, you weren't supposed to notice. I didn't sleep for 3 nights straight. Every sound outside became a threat. Every shadow on my wall turned into a figure watching me. I knew something was wrong. Deeply, deeply wrong. And now they knew that I knew. But I couldn't let it go. Curtis had been my neighbor for years. He was paranoid, yes, but also brilliant. He once showed me a hand-drawn map of underground data centers he believed were linked to political disinformation campaigns. Crazy stuff. But what if he was right? So I did something stupid. I broke into his house. One afternoon, I waited until the black SUV picked him up. I gave it 5 minutes, then climbed the back fence and slipped in through the sliding door. He'd left it unlocked. That alone set off alarm bells. The Curtis I used to know had 6 locks and a motion detector on every door. Inside, the house didn't feel like a home anymore. It smelled like lemon-scented chemicals and plastic. The walls were bare. His computer was gone. Even the cat was gone. But then I found the basement door. It was sealed with a fingerprint scanner. That wasn't there before. I stared at it, confused, until I noticed the power cable feeding the scanner wasn't plugged in. I yanked it, and the lock clicked open. The stairs creaked as I descended. The air grew colder. Below, I found a small, concrete-walled room. No windows. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. And in the middle of the room was a single wooden desk with Curtis's old laptop on it. It was still logged in. I clicked through the files, trying to make sense of them. Encrypted folders, weird .dat logs, and a massive collection of photos labeled Project Nightbridge. Inside were hundreds of surveillance shots. Not just of political rallies or shadowy buildings, but of me. Me walking my dog. Me coming out of my house. Me sleeping. There were timestamps, some from months ago, others from just days ago. Curtis had been watching me, or someone using his identity had. I backed away from the desk, my pulse in my throat, when I heard something behind me. A quiet metallic click. I turned around slowly and saw Curtis, or the thing that looked like him, standing at the top of the stairs. He wasn't smiling. His eyes weren't blank anymore. They were sharp, cold. Curiosity, he said calmly, is a dangerous addiction. I ran past him with everything I had. He didn't chase me. He didn't have to, because as I bolted out into the daylight, I knew something terrifying. Curtis wasn't alone, and if they had eyes on me before, they definitely had them now. I didn't go home. I drove aimlessly for hours, gripping the wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. The images on Curtis's laptop haunted me, not just because I'd been watched, but because I had no idea how long it had been happening or by who. I ended up in a cheap motel outside town, the kind of place with flickering hallway lights and front desk clerks who don't ask questions. I barricaded the door with a chair and sat on the edge of the bed, staring at my phone. Should I call the police? The FBI? A journalist? Who would even believe me? Eventually, curiosity got the better of fear. I connected to the motel Wi-Fi, pulled out my own laptop, and began researching Project Nightbridge. Nothing official came up, no articles, no leaked documents. But deep in a Reddit conspiracy thread, I found something. A single comment from a deleted account, buried in a discussion about political cover-ups. It read, "Project Nightbridge isn't just surveillance. It's behavioral reprogramming. If someone disappears and comes back, they're not really back." I leaned back in my chair, stomach twisting. Reprogramming? I thought about Curtis again, his too-perfect smile, his robot-like speech, his sudden shift in behavior. Something had changed in him at a fundamental level. Like his soul had been replaced. The comment ended with one chilling line. "If your neighbor's involved, you're already on a list." I felt sick. Then came the noise, a low, pulsing hum. At first I thought it was coming from the air conditioner, but it grew louder, deeper. I opened the door to the hallway. The sound was gone. I shut it. The hum returned. This time, I checked under the bed. Nothing. I turned over the dresser drawers. Nothing. Then I lifted the lamp. There it was. A small, black device, no larger than a golf ball, duct-taped under the lamp base. A blinking red light on it, pulsing every 2 seconds. They were tracking me. Right now, I threw the device into the toilet, flushed it, and ran. I drove again. No destination. Just away. It wasn't until the 4th hour on the road that I noticed the black SUV in my rearview mirror. Same tinted windows. Same unmarked plates. It didn't matter how many turns I took, it followed. At one point, I tried to lose it down a back road, but when I looped back onto the highway 20 minutes later, it was waiting for me 2 exits ahead. They were toying with me. By the time I stopped for gas at some off-brand station in the desert, I was shaking. The man behind the counter looked at me like I'd seen a ghost. "You okay?" he asked. "No," I said. I think someone's after me." He glanced at the TV behind him, where a news anchor was talking about a missing journalist tied to an election data leak. "You and half the country," he muttered. I stepped outside and saw the SUV again. But this time it wasn't parked. It was pulling up behind me, slow, deliberate. I jumped in my car, floored it, and drove into the dark again. But now I wasn't just scared. I was furious. Whatever Project Nightbridge was, I was going to expose it, even if it killed me. I left the gas station behind and drove through the night, only stopping when the sun started to rise. I ended up in a small town in Nevada, half deserted and stuck in some sort of permanent dust storm. My car was nearly out of gas, and I was nearly out of ideas, until I remembered one more person, Curtis's sister, Ellie. Curtis had mentioned her once, back before everything changed. She lived off the grid, hated the government, and had apparently seen some stuff when she worked for a defense contractor years ago. If anyone could help me understand what had happened to him, it was her. It took all day to find her. I had to use burner apps and a fake Facebook account to even track down a P.O. box. But eventually, I did. And when I showed up on her property, she didn't even act surprised to see me. "You're here about Curtis," she said, standing on her porch with a shotgun casually slung over one shoulder. "Yes," I said. "He's not the same. I think he was reprogrammed," she interrupted. "Yeah, I know." My mouth went dry. She waved me inside. Her cabin was full of analog tech, rotary phones, books, typewriters, nothing with a microchip. "They can't trace me here," she muttered, pouring black coffee into mismatched mugs. I knew Curtis was being watched for years. He was too curious, too close to the truth. I asked her what she meant. She told me about return protocols, a project she claimed was originally designed by military psychologists to help brainwash captured American soldiers back into loyalty after enemy manipulation. But over time, the government realized the process could be reversed, used to strip people of their ideas, beliefs, even memories, to make them safe. Project Nightbridge, she said, was the civilian version. "You disappear for a while," she said. "They feed you full of drugs, lights, symbols, tones. You come back home with a new set of values. Patriotism, obedience, emotional dampening. You become a puppet." She handed me a photograph. It showed Curtis in what looked like a hospital bed, eyes half open, wires hooked to his skull. The photo had a timestamp, March 3rd, the first day he'd gone missing. "But why him?" I asked. "Why not me? Why am I still?" "You're not," she said softly. I blinked. "What?" "You were on their list. You've been flagged since the day you started asking questions. But they haven't taken you yet because you're useful. You're loud, unpredictable online. You distract people. You spread chaos." I didn't want to believe it. I stood up, backing away. "No, I'd know. I'd feel something. I'd remember." She looked at me, really looked at me, then asked, "When was the last time you cried?" The question hit me like a truck. I couldn't remember. Not when my dog died. Not when my dad passed. Not even when I thought I was going to be killed in that gas station parking lot. I felt things, but only like echoes. "Holy sh*T, I whispered. She nodded. "It's not complete yet, but they've started on you. That's why the SUV hasn't taken you. They don't have to. You're already halfway gone." I didn't say anything. I just walked out, got in my car, drove. I didn't know where. I still don't. I started this story trying to figure out what happened to my neighbor. Now I don't even know who I am. If you're reading this, and you've ever felt like the world's gotten quieter, flatter, emptier, if you've caught people staring at you for too long, or found weird clicks in your phone late at night, ask yourself something simple. When was the last time you felt truly afraid? If you can't remember, it might already be too late. Hey, guys, let me know your opinions in the comments. And of course, subscribe for more.